I finished just 2 days ago our Sticky Love, and the drama was really nice and is doing really well. However, Ha Young, the main actress in the drama now, is getting canceled in South Korea, and it all started with her bragging about her background. Everything started when Ha Young and Jung Hee-in were doing an interview to promote the drama. And during the interview, Ha Young revealed that she comes from 4 generations of doctors. From what I remember, I was told that my great-grandfather was one of the first people to open a clinic specializing in Western medicine in Hanyang. After studying medicine in Japan, he opened one of the first Western medical clinics in Hanyang and treated Emperor Gojong. Her father and older sister are both doctors, while her mother previously worked as a nurse, making Ha Young the rare exception in a family that has dedicated generations to the medical profession. Despite her family's background, Ha Young stated that she was not interested in being a doctor. I never thought I had the potential for it. I just hoped my sister would work hard. I really do not understand why Korean stars really like to brag about their wealthy background. I always felt that it was more impressive if you came from a poor family, worked hard, and achieved success against all odds. But it's Korea, and many people found what she said impressive. But others started to dig and found out that her great-grandfather is An Sang-ho, and they found quite a lot. An Sang-ho reportedly entered a medical school in Tokyo in 1898, passed an examination allowing him to practice medicine in 1902, and later returned to Korea, where he operated a hospital and participated in treating members of the royal family. He was reportedly among the physicians who attended Gojong when the emperor collapsed in 1919. However, the renewed attention surrounding An Sang-ho has also led netizens to dig into records concerning his life during the Japanese colonial period, sparking allegations over possible pro-Japanese activities. The paper, which is drawing attention, was written in 1992 by historian Park Young-sok, a former history professor at Konkuk University. It is titled Lee Won-young's Study, focusing on acts as pro-American, pro-Russian, and pro-Japanese, and was published in the 32nd edition of the National Academy of Sciences. In this paper, An Sang-ho was one of the doctors who participated in the treatment at the time and explained the assassination attempt on Lee Won-young on December 22, 1909. Lee Won-young is held a traitor in South Korea, as he was a pro-Japanese politician, and he was promoted by Japanese Resident General Ito Hirobumi to the post of prime minister from 1906 to 1910. In 1909, he was seriously injured in an assassination attempt by the 5 Tulsa Traitors assassination group. The incident happened when he and other targeted officials were attending a memorial service in Jonghyun Catholic Church for the recently deceased King Leopold II of Belgium. The assassin, Lee Jae-myung, caught wind and disguised himself as a chestnut vendor outside the church. Lee Won-young appeared and was heading towards his rickshaw when Lee Jae-myung sprang into action, stabbing him 3 times with a knife while shouting, "Long live the independence of Korea." The assassin was quickly subdued by Japanese police and was arrested with serious injuries. He was sentenced to death. The assassination attempt left Lee Won-young with a damaged left lung. The paper shows which doctors saved his life. One of them was An Sang-ho. An Sang-ho and former Park Jong-hwan visited and treated Lee Won-young every day until he fully recovered. Lee Won-young, who survived extreme medical treatment, returned to his position as prime minister a month after being discharged from the hospital, and on August 22, 2010, he signed the Korea-Japan Annexation Treaty to completely and permanently hand over sovereignty over the whole of Korea to Japan. The most supportive part of An Sang-ho's pro-Japanese theory is an interview with Mail Sinbo, the official newspaper of the Japanese Government General of Korea, on December 10, 1918. He's been featured in the article as an example of the one-line fairy tale, that is, living and assimilating like a Japanese. The article is known to be available at the National Library of Korea. Mail Sinbo discussed An Sang-ho's marriage to a Japanese woman and aspects of his household, including reports that he had adopted Japanese-style clothing and eating habits. Here is what he said. "I've never worn Joseon clothes and I can't eat anything spicy," adding, "My children only use Japanese at home. I can't speak Korean at all. It's raising it to be a complete Japanese family. I speak only Japanese in my family and I don't interact with Koreans," he said proudly of being Japanese. Another reported that he was registered in a pro-Japanese community as a member. An Sang-ho was also accused of poisoning Emperor Gojong by Japanese request. However, the allegations are not officially recognized by academia because there is no clear evidence. The records have prompted debate online over whether Ha Young's celebrated elite family history has a more controversial side. Her agency acknowledged the controversy, but cautioned that some information currently circulating online about An is inaccurate. It did not specify which claims it disputes, which made Korean people even madder, and this made it into a bigger issue. However, on August 11th, Ha Young's agency, Bistus Entertainment, acknowledged that records exist, showing An Sang-ho was listed as a council member of the Daejeong Fellowship Association in 1916, an organization whose activities have raised questions about his ties to Japan. "We sincerely apologize for causing confusion by hastily stating that the allegations were groundless without sufficient verification," the agency said. The record showing that actress Ha Young's great-grandfather, An Sang-ho, was listed as a council member of the Daejeong Fellowship Association in 1916 does in fact exist. The agency added that Ha Young had mentioned her family's four-generation medical history while answering a question during a recent television appearance and said the actress was deeply troubled that the comments had unintentionally sparked controversy. Ha Young also takes this matter very seriously and will approach her activities with an even more careful and humble attitude going forward, the agency said. However, criticism continued, with some arguing that the agency's statement failed to sufficiently address the broader questions surrounding An Sang-ho's history. Writer So Jae-won also publicly criticized Ha Young and her family amid the controversy. "I saw a troubling article ahead of Liberation Day. We have now reached a point where even ancestors with pro-Japanese activities are something to boast about. I never thought I would live to see people boasting about a pro-Japanese ancestor. If our history had punished those who collaborated with Japan, would their descendants be able to speak so proudly about such things?" Dispatch contacted Bistis Entertainment on August 11th to ask about additional allegations involving An Sang-ho, as well as claims concerning Ha Young's grandfather, physician An Bu-ho, who reportedly worked at Sorokdo National Hospital during a period when serious human rights abuses were alleged to have occurred there. Regarding the additional allegations, the agency said it would check the relevant records and declined to immediately provide definitive answers. The agency was also asked about Ha Young's own position on her great-grandfather's alleged activities and whether she would issue a personal apology. The agency said it needed to discuss the matter internally before responding. Korean netizens were really mad about all this, but also international netizens as well saw the issue in here. "I don't think she should be held accountable for her great-grandfather's actions, but bragging about his not-so-clean reputation and then calling all the accusations baseless was definitely not the way to handle the situation. Her issue is that she bragged about her grandfather being a doctor and made him out to be an important figure, then denied him being a collaborator. It would be like if a German actress bragged about how great her grandfather was, and then it turned out it was Himmel." Due to a lot of noise, Ha Young's father spoke to Ilgan Sports and confirmed that his grandfather's name appears on the organization's list of council members. However, he emphasized that he felt deeply troubled by it as a descendant. Mr. An explained that when the allegations first emerged, he and his family dismissed them as unfounded based on stories passed down through generations about his grandfather's relationship with Prince Uiwa, a historical figure remembered for his strong resolve against Japanese colonial rule. An mentioned that his grandfather served the prince closely, even deciding to return to Korea after the prince urged him to come back and serve the nation while he was working at Tokyo Jiki University School of Medicine. Given their close association, An admitted he had never imagined his grandfather could be implicated in a controversy over pro-Japanese collaboration. Regarding his grandfather's marriage to a Japanese woman and his abandonment of the traditional Korean lifestyle, An explained that the marriage came about because Prince Uihwa introduced his grandfather to a woman working in Tokyo while the grandfather was staying there. He admitted that he didn't consider marrying a Japanese woman the same as collaborating with Japanese colonial forces. In fact, his grandfather supposedly insisted to his grandmother that his family remain in Korea and contribute to society. "I have vivid memories of my grandmother from my childhood, always dressed in a hanbok, traditional Korean clothing, while caring for her grandchildren and farming the land herself." However, An also expressed his willingness to re-examine his grandfather's life in the context of the country's history and take responsibility as a descendant accordingly. "I have no intention of glorifying my grandfather's past simply because he is family. I apologize for the concern caused by this controversy, and moving forward, I will study history again with a cautious and humble attitude while reflecting on what my family ought to do." Koreans were not happy. Deep down, they identify as Japanese. Even an ordinary Twitter user could identify them as a pro-Japanese collaborator based on just a few clues. Does it make any sense for their own descendants not to know? Do you really think you could tear down with your own hands the life you've spent all these years justifying? Enough. Just keep your head down and live quietly. Disgusting. Let's reclaim the assets of pro-Japanese collaborators. On August 12th, Ha Young released a handwritten apology on her Instagram. "This is Ha Young. First, I sincerely bow my head and apologize for causing great disappointment and hurt through matters related to my great-grandfather. Recently, after learning about the past actions of my great-grandfather, An Sang-ho, I have been reflecting on my family's history with a heavy heart. Until now, I only knew fragments of my great-grandfather's life through stories passed down by my family. Regrettably, in that state of ignorance, I spoke about my great-grandfather at various occasions as though he were a source of pride for our family. Through this incident, I personally researched relevant records and learned about my great-grandfather's pro-Japanese activities. I deeply regret having casually spoken about my family history without properly understanding the painful history our country endured during the Japanese colonial period. Furthermore, when the controversy was first raised, I also did not have an accurate understanding of the facts, and a statement was issued through my agency saying that the allegations were groundless. I believe it was also my fault that an incorrect position was conveyed without sufficient verification. I sincerely apologize for causing even greater confusion and hurt as a result. I also sincerely apologize for the delay in making a statement. Because the matter was so serious and I was deeply sorry, I spent time considering how best to convey my sincere apology. I do not believe that the fact that I was unaware of something can be a reason to ignore or take that history lightly. I accept this wrongdoing with a heavy heart and sincerely apologize as a descendant. I am even more deeply sorry that my shortcomings have caused controversy at a time when Liberation Day is approaching. I will keep this incident deeply in my heart. I will properly examine my family's history and the era in which they lived, and I will approach history with greater care and responsibility moving forward. I will also continue to study our history in depth and do my utmost to honor and serve with respect those who fought for Korea's independence, as well as everyone who worked for our country's liberation and well-being. I will put this into practice through my actions, not merely my words. Once again, I sincerely apologize to everyone who has been concerned or hurt by this matter. Sincerely, Ha Young. However, netizens are now accusing Ha Young of feigning ignorance about her great-grandfather's pro-Japanese activities. This accusation is based on a resurfaced post from 2013 in which the OP claimed to be An Sang-ho's great-grandchild and expressed their disgust at their family's past. In this confessional post, A noted that their great-grandfather was the royal physician suspected of poisoning Emperor Gojong. They also noted that their family had been wealthy for generations and had faced no troubles during the Japanese colonial period. A source claimed that both their great-grandfather and grandfather must have collaborated with the Japanese rulers. A also expressed their deep shame regarding this family history, admitting that they felt filthy to be born into such a household. They also mentioned a TV show that supposedly led to the discovery of their family's past. This show is believed to be the 2009 KBS History Special episode that covered the theory that Emperor Gojong was probably poisoned. An Sang-ho was known to have 4 sons and 3 daughters, out of which the 4th son was Ha Young's grandfather. Hence, it is being inferred that the OP, A, is a relative of Ha Young. While the OP's identity is being debated, their resurfaced post has given rise to speculation that the An family might have been aware of their past, contrary to their public statements. However, many netizens have come to the actress's defense, pointing out that she was more likely unaware of her great-grandfather's past and that she shouldn't be made to feel guilty by association. Why? It's not Ha Young's fault, is it? I ask those who are hurling insults, do you even know your own great-grandfather's name? And unless it's a proven historical fact, don't speak. And stop trying to railroad someone. Is this country the land of kangaroo courts? This is what's called guilt by association. The child hasn't done anything wrong. All that matters is doing something that benefits the country as they go through life. There are debates now that it does not really matter who her family was, but many Koreans claim that it's important to know your family history and be careful about talking about it. The controversy reveals how sensitive Korea remains about its colonial past and why public figures should know better, experts say. People would be more uncomfortable not with the fact itself, but with how the descendants conduct themselves, said pop culture critic Jung Duk-hyun, pointing to cases in which descendants distort the past or speak about their ancestors' actions with pride. Even if someone is a descendant, if they have a negative view of their ancestors' actions, they're unlikely to go around highlighting or taking pride in that connection. They can instead take a more humble stance or show greater interest in and engagement with those historical issues. I don't think the Korean public would necessarily criticize them if they responded in those kinds of ways. If someone can clearly distinguish between the two by saying, what my parent did was wrong, but I am a different person, then people can see that person as someone who shares the same basic values, Lee said. But in this case, that distinction wasn't really made. There seemed to be a lack of awareness of what was wrong in the first place. But what are your thoughts? Thank you for watching and see you next time.